Greetings everyone! Welcome to my review of Journey to the East Part 2. To recap what's happening so far, Sonic, Tails, Sally, and Khan are in the Dragon Kingdom to get the 4 clans to break away from the Iron Queen. First they met with the Gossamer clan and their leader, the Bride of the Endless Reach. After some tense negotiations and consulting their fortune-telling MacGuffin, the Web of Fate, the Gossamer clan severed ties with the Iron Dominion. The local members of the Yagyu clan got wind of this and has requested a meeting. Let's see how this turns out. This part begins with our heroes getting ambushed by Yagyu ninjas. Don't worry, this won't be a recurring thing in the rest of the arc. Sonic and the others easily handle them because A, they've already had experience with them, and B, they're not as organized and disciplined as, say, the Gossamer clan. Which makes me wonder why the Iron Queen would uproot a bunch of them for the Eggman Empire takeover. Even Tails brings up this question. We could speculate all day, but we've got a summary to finish. Khan's had enough and demands why they're attacking them if they sent that invitation the other night. Turns out, it was all a misunderstanding. The Yagyu thought they were travelers they could easily rob from. Jerks. Once that's sorted out, the 4 are escorted to a Yagyu base. On the way, we're reminded that the Yagyu have no bride after the Iron Dominion killed her and took the clan as their own. So having them break away might prove difficult. They arrive and we're introduced to the Yagyu Lord in charge. Right away, he tries to troll Khan by mentioning his failure against the Iron Dominion and not being impressed with his current entourage. Thankfully, Sally keeps Khan's anger in check. Before negotiations begin, the Yagyu Lord requests that Sonic and Tails leave. The Yagyu Lord is intimidated by the Hedgehog, but doesn't give 2 flips about Tails, much to his anger. From here, the story takes 2 different paths. We'll cover Sally and Khan's first. The Yagyu Lord reminisces on what the Yagyu stood for back before the Bride consolidated their clan and turned them into thieves. They were assassins and masters of the blade, with no one telling the regional lords what to do. Then the 2 are surrounded by Yagyu ninjas. Sally tries the same break from the Iron Dominion offer used on the Gossamer clan. The Yagyu Lord won't have any of this. At least the arrangement with the Iron Queen has them standing up to the other clans. Khan comes up with a different offer. Reject the Iron Dominion and the brides, and go back to the old days of blade-wielding assassins. The Yagyu would no longer be considered a clan, so the other 3 won't be on their radar, and Khan will be too busy keeping the peace between the free people and the clans to keep up with unorganized thieves. With that, the 2 give each other their words of honor. The Yagyu is done with the Iron Dominion and the clans in general. That's good in the short term, but Sally's worried about having the Yagyu and their lawlessness running around. However, Khan points out that 1/3 of the Yagyu will go back to the old ways, 1/3 would not give up the comfy lifestyle the Iron Queen provided them, and the rest will try to take advantage of this any way they can. In other words, they'll be too busy fighting amongst themselves to bother anyone else. That's pretty clever, Khan. Let's hope your theory pans out. The 2 take the time to flirt before getting back to the subject of the clans. The last 2 will be difficult as the Raiju clan's worse than the Yagyu, and the Shinobi are very hard to find. While they're trying to find Sonic and Tails, the 2 spot something that has Sally on edge. That something is tied to the Sonic and Tails plot thread. So let's wind the clock back to after they left Yagyu HQ. Tails is upset that he's not respected like Sonic is, but Sonic reassures him that he has done far more than the Yagyu Lord will ever do. Besides, there's one thing both of you don't need right now: Fiona Fox. If you don't remember, she bailed near the end of the King Scourge arc before the climactic fight in another dimension. As for why she's here, she'll answer only if the 2 can catch her. Unfortunately, Sonic can't gain speed thanks to the bamboo thicket. It's only when Fiona whacks Tails and Sonic with bamboo that the Hedgehog enters spin dash mode, which is exactly what Fiona wanted. Sonic gets ambushed by Sergeant Simeon. Yep, Fiona's back with the Destructrix, and now they've subdued the 2. Fiona has something to discuss, and it's at that point Sally and Khan caught up to them. No matter what you think of Khan, that was a clever way to get the Yagyu to break away from the Iron Dominion. Goes to show that hanging around Sally does have benefits, as he himself points out. We learn a little more about the Yagyu, that they were once bladed assassins before the Bride consolidated the factions together into thieves. And yes, there are factions, each led by a lord. Because of this, I speculate that the Yagyu is the largest of the clans, which could explain why the Iron Queen took interest in them in the first place and brought a large amount over while still having members in the Dragon Kingdom. She probably just uprooted one or more of the factions. She'll be in for a rude awakening when her Yagyu group gets word of the split. By the way, in a real-world context, the Yagyu were a family of daimyo or feudal lords who became heads of one of Japan's greatest schools of swordsmanship. Of course, I got that from Wikipedia, so take it with a grain of salt. The other main event is Sonic and Tails spotting their old headache, Fiona Fox, and she goes out of her way to remind them of this. Raise your hand if you wish bodily harm on her. As noted, she's back with the Destructrix, with the current lineup being herself, Sergeant Simeon, Predator Hawk, and Flying Frog. The next issue will explain this, so I'll leave it at that. My score for this issue is a 7. The beginning was a bit of a repeat of last issues. Heroes getting attacked, there's a misunderstanding, they're escorted to a clan's base, and so on. It makes the differences such as Khan successfully having the Yagyu break off and the Fiona chase really stand out. As I've hinted earlier, the formula changes next time. The Destructrix are here for a reason, and it's related to one of the ninja clans. We'll find out more in issue 15. I wonder, what would the Yagyu Lord think of Tails if he found out that one of the times he fought Master Mogul, he fused with a bunch of other Tailses to become a giant muscular behemoth?